And now it's time for the adventures of Ryder and Mr. Self. It was time for the annual Valentine's Day social, which meant everyone was crammed into the library to watch the Connect Four showdown. Actually, the Connect Four showdown was moved to the gym so that all the students could watch the action on the Jumbotron while sitting in the bleachers. That left the dance in the library, where a sad, strange, balding guy in an inappropriately tight t-shirt was left to twerk with the books. Again, it was sad. The students had made their choice, though, and that was to watch Ryder face off against Mr. Meanfield in a game of Connect Four. It had been a tough month for Ryder in Mr. Meanfield's class. When he wasn't shouting at kids and making them cry, Mr. Meanfield was slapping them so hard they looked like freshly pounded Ava meat. Or they'd just bled from their nose profusely. Mr. Meanfield had the kids busy making bingo cards he could sell to the nursing homes, when one day the school's news broke in to announce breaking news that the principal had approved a casino-style game room for the dance. Ever since the school's funding had been cut, the principal had searched high and low for ways to make money. After a recent professional development meeting she had had in Las Vegas, right about when she lost her second grand on Uno, she realized, again, that Vegas never loses, and that with the right setup, her school could do the same thing, minus the showgirls, Wayne Newton, and professional hockey. Mr. Meanfield rejoiced at the news and started telling the class how close he had been to being a professional Connect Four player before he tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. He was in the midst of describing how his Ava meat was tainted by an opponent when one of Ryder's classmates interrupted by asking Mr. Meanfield if they were ever going to get back to Shakespeare's Comedy of Errors. Mr. Meanfield took the poor kid's copy of the play, the one the kid bought with the proceeds from his cookie dough sales. He sold 50 doughs and got $1 from the school. And he had to use the dollar to buy the book because Meanfield had sold all the books years ago to Second and Charles. So Meanfield took that kid's book and slammed it down, shattering the kid's foot. He was rather weak. Ryder had seen enough. "Mr. Teacher Man," Ryder said, "I challenge you to a game at the social, the proceeds going towards Cooper's medical bills." Meanfield agreed, because if he won, he'd get to keep the money. The principal agreed too, because heavy traffic and betting is central to any house winning money. Meanfield selected Connect Four as the game of choice. Ryder immediately began training with Mr. Self. Every morning, Mr. Self would have Ryder drink 6 raw eggs. Then Mr. Self would get on an ATV, and Ryder would jog through the streets. Small children began to run with Ryder, and they would all run to the library, the kids walking the rest of the way from there to Jack's for the big breakfast. Ryder, though, would go inside the library and work under Mr. Self's watchful eye at playing 7 rounds of Connect Four at a time. Ryder knew he was ready for the big day when he hit a Connect 10, going horizontally, vertically, and diagonally all at once. The day of the social, kids were selling Ryder Meanfield shirts. It was the talk of the school. Once the game began, all you could hear outside of the clicks from the board was the sound from the library as the DJ begged his baby to pull him closer in the back seat of a Rover. Honestly, it was rather inappropriate music. And you could tell, because it was so quiet otherwise. "I've got you now," Meanfield said. "You fell for the oldest trick in the Connect Four book, which I used to own before I sold it to Second and Charles. Now prepare to be disconnected. Forever. Ha ha ha." Ryder winced. Mr. Self was right. When evil villains get cocky, they talk way too much. And they use bad puns. And they have an evil laugh. They also blind themselves to others' tactics. And so Ryder slid his piece down with a Connect Four Meanfield never saw coming. The students all rejoiced and spent the rest of the social talking, because it was too far to walk to the library, and the DJ's shiny head could be blinding.